Join me in part 3 of this bathroom makeover as I use peel and stick tile flooring to cover a porcelain floor. Okay, so I've already done the dry fitting of the floor that I'm about to put this laminate tile on. This tile is 12 by 24 and I'm putting it on top of 12 by 12 porcelain tiles. I'm gonna show y'all this super duper perfect tool that I have. You probably saw one of these like on Instagram or something, but it's basically a pattern maker. So like if you're butting it up against something, if you want to get the perfect shape of something that you're doing, then you just push these pieces, like these all move. You push these pieces up against the object. So like for instance, with this toilet, when I get to that section, I'm gonna use this to create my pattern. See, just like that. And you lock it in place. And so I would line this up on the linoleum and cut it out for this pattern. So it makes perfect patterns. I'm also going to use this on the door frame over here. Let me show you. I'm going to push this against the door frame to show exactly where the pattern, where the indentations and the parts that stick out, all of that are, without having to measure or just eyeball it. So I'm gonna get as close to possible on this shape. I'm trying to hold the camera and do this with one hand on this shape as possible. So here we go. Here we go. So now I'm going to use this on my linoleum to make a cut. Okay, so I lined the tool up with the edge of the vinyl and I put a piece of cardboard underneath because I'm going to use my utility knife to cut out this pattern. So I'm going to be extra careful with this. And along the top, I'm just gonna score it so that it cuts the plastic piece that's on top first. And I'm following along this pattern very carefully. See, it moved just a little bit. But a great feature is that this thing locks. So I'm not too worried about it moving. I'm gonna go back and score it again. I'm being extra careful because you really never want to pull a utility knife toward you. You always want to cut away from you. And I can tell you that that is some very good advice because I have been on a job and pulled the utility knife toward me cutting something and I ended up needing stitches after the job. I finished the job, but I cut my leg pretty bad and ended up needing about 5 or 6 stitches simply because I wasn't using good safety practices. So don't be like me. Do as I say and not as I do. So I can feel that the plastic piece is cut on top. And basically once I get this other piece cut, I just need a straight edge so I can cut the rest of this piece along here so that it'll fit. Okay, I'm gonna use a straight edge just to cut this portion. Let me go back to where I was. Okay, I'm gonna use a straight edge here to cut this side. And once it's cut, once you do the scoring deep enough, you can just go in and break the pieces off. That's one of the things I like about using vinyl tiles, peel and stick tiles, because it's pretty easy to cut and break. So here we go. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You can see that it's scored along that pattern line. And all I'm going to do is hold both pieces and break it. Just like that. Now, I can place my first piece. So right now, I'm just peeling off the peel and stick, the paper. And I'm going to place this, I'm going to align this right there. Look at that. It's like a puzzle. It is a perfect fit. I love it. There we go. And the first piece is down. And just as I want it, it butts up against this door. I can't think of what this thing is called right now. But it butts right up against that. It's right up against the cabinet. So I'm going to use this as my guide and continue on. Okay, yes, that's a perfect fit. Okay, so let's take this paper off. This one can go. We got 2 down. How many more to go? But I'm aligning this. I had measured 12 inches on the floor. So I'm just going to measure this, align this with my 12-inch mark. And then when I go to put down the next piece, here, it'll just be, it should be 12 inches. So that was so super easy compared to around the toilet. And I butted it right up against those pieces that I already have down. perfect. So I have this corner, this piece back there, and over there left. So what had happened was I realized that I was off in my measurement. So what I decided to do was take a piece of the piece that I had cut off and just stick it into the open gap area. And because it came from that exact same piece, it made it easy just to fit in, almost just like a puzzle piece. Ta-da! So I'm not too worried about the it being in pieces because you can't really tell too much. I guess I would next time probably just measure a little better, a little more accurately. So now I'm gonna go around the back of the toilet for the next pieces. So instead of using the tool this time, I decided to use the backing of one of the tile pieces to create a pattern. I went back to my old method. This is old school. You can use cardboard, you can use paper, you can use wax paper, but it was just easier for me to just use the paper that I had on hand. And I traced out the area where I want the tile to go and create a pattern. Now I'm using my pattern to trace out the shape right on top of the tile. Just like I did with the tool, I'm going to trace around that area and then cut it with my utility knife. Okay, so now I'm just going to caulk around the toilet and around the edges of the tile where it butts up against the wall. And we're done with the floor. I would say that looks pretty good.